Stanford University.
Put you in the middle seat.
아니, 저 배주디.
And,
내 나길 거쳤어.
네.
내 나길 거. 어, 진짜. Thank you.
Welcome to the Stanford Memorial Church for our third annual Harry's Last Lecture on a Meaningful Life. I'm Scotty McLennan, the Dean for Religious Life, and I welcome you on behalf of all members of the Office for Religious Life. We're honored and thrilled that His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, is our third Rathbun Visiting Fellow, following Secretary George Shultz in 2009 and Justice Sandra Day O'Connor in 2008. His Holiness has actually spoken here in the Memorial Church twice over the last 15 years, and we're grateful to have him back here again today. The Harry and Amelia Rathbun Fund for Exploring What Leads to a Meaningful Life was made possible by an endowment established in 2006 by the Foundation for Global Community, which is directed by their son, Richard Rathbun. Its purpose is to help Stanford students engage in self-reflection and moral inquiry and exploration of life's purpose, especially in commitment to the common good. Its centerpiece is a visiting fellow program which brings notable, wise, and experienced people to campus each year. After receiving his undergraduate and master's degrees in engineering, Harry Rathbun worked in government and private industry positions, developing and manufacturing telegraph and radio transmitters. He became the vice president of the Colin B. Kennedy Radio Company before returning to Stanford to earn his law degree. As a beloved law professor here then, from 1929 until 1959, he also became known university-wide for setting aside his final course lecture in law to talk about the kinds of values and commitments that would lead students to a meaningful life as a whole. Amelia and Harry were also generous in opening their home weekly to students to discuss ethics, psychology, and religion. They co-founded the Sequoia Seminar here in the Bay Area, which was later known as Creative Initiative, and then Beyond War, and finally the Foundation for Global Community. Many board members and participants in the foundation and its predecessor organizations are here this afternoon, and I especially want to greet you and thank you. The Office for Religious Life is committed in its mission to guide, nurture, and enhance spiritual, religious, and ethical life university-wide at Stanford, including engaging ourselves in the sacred duty to repair the world. My associate dean colleagues, Rabbi Patricia Carlin Newman and the Reverend Joanne Sanders, direct programs with titles like What Matters to Me and Why, Sports and Spirituality, and the Fellows for Religious Encounter, which are all supported by Rathbun funding. The three of us work with a talented and committed staff to whom we're very grateful, in particular to Na-Sun Cho, the Rathbun program manager who's been responsible for planning and organizing this lecture today. And I also want to acknowledge Development Officer Maura McGinnity, who's worked with the foundation from the start to conceptualize this program and has stayed helpfully involved every step of the way. So it's now my pleasure to introduce Richard Rathbun, President of the Foundation of Global Community, for Global Community, who will make the formal introduction of our visiting fellow, the Dalai Lama. Richard is a social visionary who's put his commitments into practice from his early days in the Peace Corps to the groundbreaking work that he did in leading the Beyond War organization that's now become the Foundation for Global Community. And he's traveled extensively in more than 50 countries and has one of the most genuinely global perspectives I've ever known. It's with the utmost respect and appreciation that I now introduce Richard Rathbun.
Thank you, Dean McLennan. It's a rare opportunity we have today to gather together in this awesome place, a place that helps us to connect with some of the most expansive and important ideas that we may ever encounter. It's more than symbolic that this space occupies the very center of the university. Our speaker this afternoon hardly needs an introduction, so I will be very brief. A typical introduction might begin this way. His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, has traveled to more than 62 countries spanning 6 continents. He's met with countless political, religious, and scientific world leaders. In addition to the Nobel Peace Prize, he has received numerous awards, honorary doctorates, and prizes in recognition of his message of peace, nonviolence, interreligious understanding, universal responsibility, and compassion. He's authored more than 72 books. Those are among his worldly accomplishments. But it is his inner journey that distinguishes him from all others. There's probably no one in today's world more able to speak about the meaning and purpose of life than His Holiness Tenzin Gyatso, the 14th Dalai Lama. His life represents an extraordinary personal journey of rigorous exploration, coupled with a highly disciplined expression of the fundamental principles that can lead to pain and suffering, or, on the other hand, to meaning and happiness. His Holiness takes his rightful place in an extended lineage that is perhaps as old as our species, a lineage engaged in the search for answers to the most profound questions we can ask both of ourselves and of our societies to which we belong. So I encourage us all to listen carefully. The message we are about to hear today may contain some of the most important information we will ever hear. That's one of those little warning labels that you see on the gas pumps. The message we are about to hear today may contain some of the most important information we will ever hear. So please join me in giving a warm Stanford welcome to a man who describes himself as a simple Buddhist monk, His Holiness Tenzin Gyatso, the 14th Dalai Lama.
Usually, I prefer you to speak from there. But today, a little tired. So I want to seek your permission to speak from here. Okay. And from here, you see, there no difficulties to see your face. Sometimes you see a little bit low, then I prefer to stand. But here, no, not necessarily that. So, indeed, I am very happy and a great honor to speak, share some of my experience with you. Basically, we are same. Although I come from Tibet, in the past, outside world consider mysterious land. And of course, the Tibet land of snow, a bit isolated. And Tibetans themselves also, you see, they prefer remain isolation. I think I feel foolish. So in any way, I come from that area, that land. You are this very modernized nations. But on a human level, fundamental level, we are same. I think I often feel the modernity mainly means external structure, buildings, and more missions, more cars. But we here, user of these modern things, still we are, I think, same human being. Last at least several thousand years, we're still same. Our emotions, same. Our intelligence, the real the seed of intelligence, same. So long the size of the brain remains same, these are same. And then, so therefore, my own experience also maybe some help to you, and particularly experience from one older people to younger people, sometimes may be useful. So, now here the theme, meaningful life. Actually, of course, the explanation, meaningful life, maybe there are different explanations due to different philosophical thinking. For example, according theistic religion, theistic faith may have some different explanation. And non-theistic, another non-theistic sort of religion, faith, also may have some different sort of explanation. But I always say, talking on the level of human being, they are not much related with religious faith. So meaningful life on that level, in the sense of meaningful life. Firstly, you yourself achieve happy days and nights, weeks and months, years. Then, secondly, we are social animals. Individuals, or say the happy life, much depend on the rest of the community, because we are one of them. If we really remain, when I was young, I saw one film, Tarzan or something, remain very remote area, and occasionally shouting. If we remain like that, then okay, only think oneself, not necessary to develop sense of concern of other, because you yourself, you see, completely independent. Your survival depends on some fruits, some wild fruits, that's all. But we are not that way. Our very existence, our food, our shelter, our clothes, all is to come from others' effort. Then one very important element for a happy life is good friend. to whom you share your difficulties, your joyfulness. Friendship on the basis of genuine affection. Friendship, genuine friend, will not bring by money alone or power. Those friends, we may call friend who showing you some smile, some nice word, but actually such friends are friend of money or friend of power, not friend of the being, the person. So genuine friendship comes from heart, and genuine trust, mutual respect. So genuine trust and respect come if you treat them honestly, truthfully, sincerely. And with that, no hypocrisy, no telling lie, and transparent. These are the basis or foundation of trust. So this very much related with your more sort of sense of concern of others' well-being. That automatically brings respect and trust. Other hand, extreme self-centered attitude that often brings suspicion, distrust, hypocrisy. So therefore, to both one's own happy life, you need self-confidence. Compassion brings self-confidence. More self-confidence, more inner strength, less fear. Less fear, your mind becomes more calm. That also immense benefit to body health, right? Physical health. So some time back, some sort of discussion about health with scientists or concerned scientists. I said they describe healthy mind, healthy body. Without sort of pay attention about healthy mind, just a healthy body is difficult. So we must pay equally attention about healthy mind. So for individuals, happiness, successful life, healthy mind, healthy body, important. And second level, as a social animal, so we have to create more compassionate society, compassionate family. There also because a key factor is warm-heartedness, honest. So that, irrespective whether believer or non-believer, so long we are human being, so long we are part of the humanity, these are fundamental value that I believe. So in order to carry meaningful life, money, power, these are secondary part of course, in order to carry meaningful life, money, because of that, better facility. These are important, but not ultimate sort of the source, factor. Ultimate factor is within ourselves. Mind, more compassionate mind. So then, that's usually I describe a secular way of approach to increase these inner value, which itself secular ethics. Mainly biological factor, these things. Then, last 1,000 years, I think 4 to 5,000 years, the faith eventually developed on this planet. So all these different faiths, the essential message, essential teaching is same: love, compassion, with that forgiveness, tolerance, and self-discipline, and the practice of contentment. Too much greed brings more sort of restlessness, and also too much greed. Now today, even ecological problem or global economic crisis, here also extreme greed makes some certain contribution for this crisis. So for that, contentment, practice of contentment is very good. Many of those religious sort of follower, like Christian, particularly in those in the monastery, monk or nuns, their life very simple. They emphasize simplicity. That is practice of contentment. Then, in any way, we come across some uncomfortable things. When we face that, practice of patience, practice of tolerance, that immense help. All these based on practice of love, compassion. And then I want to share with you the meaning of discipline. Discipline, some cases imposed by authority. That discipline is something different matter. But when we religious field, discipline mainly means self-discipline. So that means voluntarily, you see, come. And out of awareness, if I do this harmful, or long run, harm, or for the negative consequences for myself. So out of awareness, these things, out of awareness of consequences, then restrain these wrongdoing. That's self-discipline. Like, you see, according to doctor, if someone, you see, they have some problem, then doctors say, oh, you should take more exercise, or you should, because of the restrain, eating this kind, this and that kind. Oh, so then we voluntarily, you see, restrain. Although I love this, but doctors say should not take, so restrain. That's self-discipline for one's own protection, not imposing, isn't it? So that is, I think, religious sense. The genuine meaning of discipline is like that. So all religions, all major religious traditions, same message, same practice. Now, in the philosophical field, big differences. Some say there's God, some say no God. Some say rebirth, there is rebirth. Some say no rebirth. but this is just one life. So big differences. But doesn't matter. If you ask, what's the purpose of these different philosophy? Same purpose, to strengthening these practice of love, compassion, forgiveness, these things. The theistic religion, there's God. So when you submit or totally correct, totally submission to God, that reduces self-centered ego. Very good. Then description about God is infinite love. That gives us inspiration, practice of love. So wonderful. Then non-theistic, like Buddhism or Jainism, emphasis law of causality or karma. Karma means action. So they're simple. If you do good things to other, you get a benefit. If you do bad things to other, you get suffering. That's the law of karma. So that also, you see there, if you practice compassion and serve other, at least not harm other, you get benefit. The same purpose. And too much greed, you get trouble, contentment. Like self-discipline, all these things, you see, they're due to, from the viewpoint of law of causality, you see, these practices, you see, come. Same purpose. So even within Buddhist tradition, there are different philosophy taught by Buddha himself. So sometimes I telling audience, these contradictory philosophy come from same teacher, Buddha. This certainly not out of his own confusion. He tell one day this philosophy to one audience. Then another occasion, he tells something different. Of course, I'm Buddhist, with respect to Buddha. These contradictory philosophy come not out of alcohol or little confusion. Certainly not. Nor he deliberately tried to create more confusion among his followers. One day he said this, one day he said that. No, certainly not. Then the answer is, because among his disciples, there are different mental dispositions. Therefore, to some people, certain philosophical viewpoint is more suitable, more helpful. So he taught accordingly. And some people, different sort of philosophical viewpoint is more suitable, more effective, he told that. So same purpose, out of his compassion, out of his sense of concern. So from this we learned, different traditions. Some say God, some say Creator, absolute. Buddhists say no absolute. Doesn't matter. Same purpose. And sometimes, you see, in order to create more sort of closer relation, just talk some similar things. Those differences put behind. This is wrong method. When I participate in the faith, sort of as a dialogue, I always make clear all these differences. Then, in spite of these differences, the essential practice is concerned the same. And all these different philosophical viewpoints, same purpose. Through that way, you can develop genuine respect, admiration to all the different major traditions. So now today, although I think among different religious traditions, the pluralism of religion, spiritual pluralism, now is coming. Like India, 1,000 years, I think more than 3,000 years, the different religious tradition already exist. For example, homegrown religion, different Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, later Sikhism, these homegrown religion. Then from outside, Zoroastrianism from Iran, ancient Iran, Parsi, come to India when they face some problem in their own land. And then Christianity, Islam, Judaism. All major world religious traditions exist, live together in that continent, in that country. So why not on this whole planet? Now, because of different information, because of the easier information. So now information of different sort of faith. Like America, is immigrants there from different part of the world. So the society, like multicultural society, multi-religious society. So this, will happen all part of the world. So I think we should take India's example. All major religious traditions live together, mutual respect. Oh, occasionally some problems. It is understandable. India, now over 1 billion human beings, some mischievous people take for granted, always there. So that's understandable. But overall picture, all these major religious traditions live together. So things are improving. But meantime, we need more constant effort to bring closer relation, closer understanding among different religious traditions. So I always try to bring more closer understanding like that. Then what else? I think finished. My talk finished. Actually, I have 2 commitments. Number 1 commitment is promotion of human value. That also I already touched. Then second, my commitment is promotion of religious harmony. That also I touch. So now complete. Thank you. Some questions now.
So this is a time where we will have questions from the floor, but also we collected questions online. So I think what I'll do is just begin with a question online, and then are there people at the mics here on the floor? Could you just
There.
We're all set there? Okay, good. So let me start with a question that came through online. To what extent should we act for others at the expense of our own personal happiness? Where do our responsibilities to others end, and where do our responsibilities to ourselves begin?
그러려다. 그러려다고.
샴페인 제백값이야. 아니 수술이야. 같이 경으로 때 시키고 걸어봐. 경 가져서부터 키고 그랬어. 즉 수술 뒤길이야. 다 경으로 시키고도. 근데 치산부터 키고 그래. 체를 가져서부터.
I think generally more sort of service to other and show affection, respect. I think nothing you lose.
You lose nothing now.
Oh, from your side, nothing. Of course, for example, when some very hungry person there, you have one packed lunch and you have to share half. That you lose something. But that is small matter. then sometimes, you see, in order to sake of others' life, sacrifice your own life. Such things are quite serious. Then you have to think, if I sacrifice my own life for the benefit of other, how much benefit? Other hand, if I survive my life, is preserve, how much benefit? How much I can do? Still, continuously.
Future, no.
Wait, Kazuda.
Weigh them.
Weigh them. If things really, almost you see, 80-90% sure, if I sacrifice my life, then immense benefit to other. My life, if it remain another sort of few decades, not much sort of today, Kazuda. No obvious sort of today. Sure.
Right.
Oh. So this time, now right time, sacrifice my life for the benefit of others. Then I think worthwhile to sacrifice your whole life. And also is it like giving eye or some kidney or some organs. They definitely benefit. Then sometimes you see worthwhile. Again, you see, they calculate the other's life, other one who suppose you give donation, right? Organ donation, organ. Oh, their life, something really good, meaningful life. Or if this organ, my organ is offered, then he or she survive longer period and a lot of sort of day,
Cause a lot of suffering.
wrongdoing or cheating, bully like that. They're not much worthy. So all these, you see, depend on the circumstances or depend on case to case. So we have to use our intelligence, long-term benefit and short-term benefit. For bigger benefit and shorter lose. Right? Shorter sort of smaller
Purpose.
small sort of.
Purpose.
Because that's what Chong Kyo is, no? Deal with that.
That is. So you have to compare between the bigger benefit that a particular act would, bring about, and the degree of cost it's going to inflict upon yourself.
충무체도 쳔미동사래.
And there's a phrase in the Tibetan Buddhist ethical teaching which says that for the purpose of a small goal, you should not sacrifice something that is larger.
Like that. Second question.
Let's take a question from the right-hand mic here, please.
Hello, Your Holiness. My question is, do you feel that the quality of unconditional love, that is something that is known at birth by a mother, is something that can be cultivated in the religious life and in the life of our inclusion of all beings, so that we have some sort of parameter for bringing about a kind of peace and allowing for what we might say is the stronger sex, but right now doesn't appear to be in our very violent world.
가사.
그리스도인데 군중 고문때 코고연아서 반나타는 다나 아마이나 북을 저랑신 요르와 직랑신 요한데 시대 뒤도는 닝지 지디나 자제 상그 요엔자스 엔디 지조로 자제 제제 답시 요르베스 엔 라고도 출루 다베 나로 수키온 최근냐면 날 키워야다 대충배나 베나타는데 다 표면을 뜨니 깨버져 직된 나로야 됐으면 조심 레토면 도와서 됐으면 조심 레토면 도와서 그래서 디네 레절라에 연나서 아메 냠용 따제 최대 나로 지키워야다
최대 나눠.
출루 라마 되게 망치다 저걸 보다 데스기스를 비제.
And religious matter, of course, I cannot say. I cannot sort of say they sort of definitely they're all different traditions. That's difficult to say. But generally, now today's world, I think generally education highly advanced, and everywhere people, unanimously sort of agree importance of education. So I think result also quite satisfactory. But still we are facing a lot of man-made problem. Why? Not lack of education, not lack of vision, but sometimes wrong vision. Sometimes education, smart brain, utilized for destruction. So this clearly shows we are lacking the real sense of responsibility on the basis of compassion, sense of well-being of other. So now here, regarding compassion, the biologically female more sensitive to others' pain. One occasion, some scientists, out of their experiment, they noticed the two persons, one male, one female, witness someone painful experience. Then response, heart beating, all these response, female, much more stronger. I have one story. I myself noticed. One time, long flight, night flight, I think from Japan to America or something, quite long flight. So, in the airplane, among the passenger, one quite young couple, two babies. One baby, I think, 5-6 years old. One, I think 1 year old, one year or like that, very small. So the daytime, the elder one running here and there, little disturbances, but not much problem. But sometimes we amuse demonstrate.
Quite amusing.
Quite amused. And I think one occasion I also offer one sweet like that. Then night start. The elder one sleep nicely. The smaller one, from time to time, crying. And then the early night,
At the beginning now.
at the beginning of night, both parent, father and mother, both, taking care of that young baby. Then about midnight, the father sleeps, the rest. The only mother taking care, still sacrifice her sleep. The next morning, I noticed her eyes become very red. So this demonstrated, although both parents taking care out of affection, but in real sense, mother take more care. And then look, dogs, father enjoy, then disappear. But mother, the whole whole period, till the puppy, become independent. Mother whole time, take care. And birds also like that. That's a biological factor. So therefore, at the time, we need more effort for promotion of human affection, human compassion, I think female should take more active role in this field. This I really feel. The religious field, that's of course, we have to go according to one's own sort of tradition. So I have no right to interfere in these fields like that. So that's my view. Next question.
Let's take one from the left side. Mike, please.
Pranam, Your Holiness. My question is about something that we face a lot in life. It's about the decisions that we make. Many times when we make a decision or we are about to make a decision, we often think that what outcome it's going to have and like how it's going to affect our lives. So, and after making a decision, often we like regret making decisions like, I shouldn't have made this, I shouldn't have done that. So what would you suggest is like a proper way to make a particular decision?
Karsa.
Excuse me, can you repeat the first part?
Can
I
you repeat
couldn't
the
hear.
first part of the question, please?
Acoustics.
It's about the decisions that we make in life. How should we go about it? Like many times, when we look back at our life, we think that, some decisions that we made were wrong and some affected our lives in negative ways. So what should be like our basic, what should be our rule of thumb when we are making a decision?
안 타주 제바 가시 제마 치장 제제 치미 따외 갑려야 너는 수수 교바치 붙이고 했는데 연구도 왔어 디인자 다든데 그 노주망 한번 마요야 된다려야 안지다 지금 로타르 제베 갑려야 지금 마음번에다 노조 로타 마임바 영화에 답시 즉 남주로 저 배주 제제 답시 가려 놨어
뭐시 주고래.
You need a kind of clairvoyance.
But that also difficult. So naturally, before sort of a small decision, small matter, decision doesn't matter. But more serious sort of matter, if there's sufficient time, of course some kind of earthquake will happen, then no time to think which direction come, and then gradually moving. No. Immediately you have to escape like that. So these are something different. But usually, decision should not take hurriedly. Think over it again and again. And then also ask some of your trusted sort of friend. Then think very carefully and also take some different suggestions. Then finally decide. Then later, if goes wrong, you will not get regret. I consulted with my friend, and I myself also constantly, carefully thought about it. Now finally we decided, no regret. So my own experience go like that. When since my age, 16-year-old, now 75, over 75 years, it's a major decision. I always, first day, I myself say, think, then ask different opinions from concerned people and also ordinary my friend, including sweeper. I ask, what is their opinion? Then, of course, as a Buddhist practitioner, I also using definition, more, tapachati.
Some mysterious procedure for determining.
Then, if you see it, there, 2-3 sort of option, discuss, and through using human intelligence, and almost certain one sort of decision is now better, then decide. If still some dilemma, we don't know. Then I use this mysterious way of investigation. Then decide. Then no regret. Even something goes wrong, no regret. Like that. So that's the way. So ultimately, depend decision maker himself or herself.
Another question from online. Doesn't discovering the way to lead a meaningful life demand experiential learning? And to what extent is that kind of knowledge actually communicable by a teacher like yourself?
경제.
人每次团队要不就用眼里啊，他就用眼啦，那냠용 다 간다 다 추조한다 말에 다 간다 지 뇨를 때문에 네 디코르베스 그때 되는 데게 네 시제들이 네 개인지 기를 봐 칸에 시제 지대 투여요래 답시신 나주고 요래서
I think mainly information. And suppose you see the several years study from kindergarten up to university level. You see, suppose you see, give us information and to utilize our intelligence more effectively, more wisely. So a lot of information. Then important, I think, when we study, just you see some sort of superficial knowledge from books or from teachers of explanation, just like copy, that's not sufficient. These knowledge which come from others' word or books, and then analyze yourself and experiment, then develop sort of the fuller knowledge about the subject. And then some cases, certain subject, such as you see, practice of compassion, these things, then time factor is very important. So familiarize these things, then eventually become part of your own life. So knowledge through that way is real teacher. The more sort of knowledge through that way, you don't need any sort of person.
external teacher.
Because external teacher, like that. Here, one story. I think 10th century, 11th century, one great master, at the time he passed away,
He was passing away. He was passing away.
Passing away. Some of his disciples, you see, express, till now, you are here. Whenever we face some sort of questions or doubt, we can ask you. Now you will no longer with us. So what to do? And he mentioned text. Text what? Text. These should be your teacher. Should not rely on human being or on person, but relying on these books. So that I think very good advice. So we acquire sort of more information, knowledge, and then also now these days you see the newspaper or media people also immense help. You see, to know the reality and what other people doing when they face similar sort of problems or difficulties. So like that. So here, one Buddha statement is quite useful. Ultimately, you are your own master. you have to take care yourself and use human intelligence and human experiences maximum way. Like that.
Question here from the mic on the right-hand side, please.
Hello, Your Holiness. I'm wondering what your favorite time of the day is.
그래서
니마 지금 나로야 군두용기 투니부 니쇼데 투수 남지럽지만 가투 지금은 쇼게 지금은 인군 지금은 권다
sleep. And of course, long days. My sort of daily life start 3:30 early morning. Then some meditation or analytical meditation. Think like that. Analyze. And also occasionally some single-pointed meditation. It took about 4-5 hours. Then some meeting like that. Now getting older, the late evening, little feeling of tiredness. So sleep is very important. Then I think more serious, like this meeting. Meeting with people, human brothers, sisters, who have the same sort of the potential, and also facing day by day some kind of problems always there. So then, how to tackle this problem? Share each other experience. I feel some fulfillment of one's own life. Your life becomes something because of benefit, meaningful, benefit to other. So that's the real meaning of life. Like that. Next.
From the left, please.
All right, so first of all, very nice color coordination with the hat and the robe. So my question is about meditation. I feel like meditation encourages you to detach yourself from worldly objects or things in your life, but at the same time, I feel like it's enabling you to gain a sense of oneness with your environment or feeling of interrelatedness with everything. So can you just explain what seems like two opposing things? How can a feeling of detachment from everything lead to a sense of oneness with your environment?
그래서 당부들이야 대군주 우시대 최시 남사다 중부시도 쉬어이서 근데 다른데 간동시 들이샤 쿠란게 냠용도네 또 곰데스 잡고요스 아니 곰 잡아가리야 곰디기 좀 자진 좀 제로 찍리야 아니 또 캔서 오시 통도 간다 조지네 간다 지 zemba 축침부터 충돌해서 detachment 용해 두스 야 순항원에 곰잡에 깽기 야 현다 편주 두두고 저와다 녀르줘야다 뒤에 연구도스 interconnected다 단수수 현다 즉 틈보다도 되게 녀와도 돼 다들 지도가 호흡 때문에 인게 원도저셔스 detached 랍도가라 플레이 요리 수 장버와 즉 녀르도가라 파드 죽으러와 뒤도 가나요나 수 때문에 게 원도스
No contradiction. Actually, first of all, what kind of meditation? There are a lot of differences, a lot of different meditations.
I'm just talking about Zen.
삼대 고민들. 단데
지지부.
나 지지부 쪽으로 제제 되는 게
Zen, no?
남도 축복가 하는데.
The compassion or closeness feeling with other. There are two things, two different sort of different kind, or two levels. One level, biological factor. That's closest feeling towards your own family members or parents, children, brothers, sisters, like that. That kind of sort of closest feeling among animals also have. That's a biological factor. Here, very much mixed with attachment. Now, the second level or higher level of compassion or closeness feeling. Think also the right to also overcome suffering. Now, for example, oneself feel some kind of self-care, dear self. That feeling not develop on the basis of some kind of recognition, oneself very kind to oneself. No. But simply oneself want happiness and have right to overcome suffering. So that was a reason to other infinite sentient being, infinite human being, same. Each one have right to overcome suffering. Each one have that desire by innate. That desire is there. So on that basis, like one wish overcome suffering for oneself, similarly, the wish others also is to overcome suffering. Now, the previous one, very much sort of was oriented towards others' attitude. The second one, not oriented the others' attitude, but self or
the person.
A person itself. The previous one, very much mixed with attachment. The second one, without attachment, unbiased. So long attachment there, that closeness feeling biased. So attachment become hindrance of development of the second kind of compassion, which essentially detach. No preference. This one, my close friend. This one, my enemy, more distance. Know that. All equal. My enemy also has every right to overcome suffering. So, on the basis of that kind of sort of understanding, then develop the genuine sense of concern of well-being of other. That's real compassion. So there's no contradiction. Detach and develop genuine compassion. The limited compassion with attachment. Clear? Thank you.
Another question.
Then also thank, you see, your Kazota, comment about this color. Thank you. Oh.
Another question from online is, generally speaking, most religions, and certainly what I know of Buddhism, advocate the overcoming of desire. However, is one's choice to live a meaningful life not driven by the desire for meaning? Is there a way to differentiate one desire from another?
that's desire, when the text say desire is something causing for suffering, it's a particular desire. Otherwise, you see, without desire, then movement no longer there.
Not possible.
Ka.
Not possible.
Not possible. And even, you see, wishing happy life, wishing happy life of all human beings, or healthy planet, all these are wish, desire. Desire leads our action. Without action, that means without cause, how can develop effect? Effect must come from action. Action must come from motivation. Motivation must come from desire. Now, desire and attachment, a kind of desire very much mixed with attachment, that's a wrong thing. So, even you see, so in desire, among the desire, positive, constructive desire, destructive desire, or neutral desire. Just as one eating here, one desire to
Scratch.
and neutral, nothing wrong, nothing causal benefit, like the benefits of the kyawa.
Neither ethical nor unethical.
So, then similarly, the strong the sense of strong self, there are also, you see, two kinds, positive, negative. Usually, when we refer egoistic attitude, that's extreme self-centered ego, which leads harming other, cheating other, bully other,
Exploiting others.
regardless others' feeling. That is a negative egoistic attitude. But then on the other hand, I want to serve them, I want to do them, even as I want to sacrifice my own life. There should be strong sense of self. Without that, you cannot develop will. You cannot develop courage or self-confidence. So there are two kinds, ego, one positive, one negative. Even anger, one positive, one negative. Positive, out of sense of concern, some sort of wrathful thinking.
Rough,
Some
strong attitude.
Apparently something like anger, out of compassion, out of sense of concern of others' well-being. Now, for example, so one child, you see, they just running, facing the danger of fell down, then shouting, and one time warning, not listen, second time warning, not listen, third time, then you may lose anger and some harsh sort of physical action. That's some kind of anger or wrathful sort of mental attitude is actually positive because that motivated by compassion. So when we talk these emotions, the emotion, thousands different emotions interrelated. So we cannot say desire wrong. We cannot say egoistic attitude wrong. We cannot say anger is bad. So we have to analyze different sort of, because of the nature, different category. So we need more study about our inner world, the mental world. People, so every school, study geography from this up to there, how many kilometers, so how many if you go by car, how many hours. Important, but equally more important within the skull. A lot of complications there. Study more about this nature is very essential, directly related with our day-to-day life. So therefore, I usually used to describe Buddhism 3 parts. Buddhist science, or in other words, science which come from Buddhist text. Then philosophy, which come from Buddhist source. Then Buddhist religion. So Buddhist religion meant for Buddhist. But science and concept which come from Buddhist literature is something universal, something academic subject. So we're already, you see, planning some sort of particular sort of textbook. Collected modern science and ancient Asian science or Buddhist science about mind, about particles. Then different concept from the ancient non-Buddhist thought or Buddhist thought and modern, like including like Bertrand Russell's the thought of philosophy, Western philosophy from Greek. So we already making some textbook. So eventually we'll translate in English and some other language. So maybe useful. So then Buddhist information can enrich our knowledge about inner science. Good? Next.
From the right, please.
Hello. So you mentioned envisioning a world where someday all the people of the earth would be unified. What are your thoughts on spreading the Buddhist ideals of compassion and tolerance as a means to accomplish that goal?
가수도.
네, 단다 공시질이야 나 마음배 투주질이야.
가.
마음배 투주질이야. 잠불이 온도 직투 용해기 간다 공시 여러 봤어. 또 마음배다 직된 잠불이가. 근데 그 미유된 두배가 답람이야. 안 남추기 흉내 셰베 닝지다 셴뱅기 랍지티기티 네 빼베나 답신 펜도 여러 말했어. 미유드 두배야 그치?
I always sort of believe different religious tradition is really helpful for a variety of people. So simply one religion cannot satisfy variety of people. So we need different religions, religious faith. And then the subject, like compassion, these are, I think, all major religious traditions. As I mentioned before, this is the same. Now here problem. One time in Argentina, one our meeting, including some scientists, and some religious leader. One scientist, one Chilean scientist, physicist. I was told he was the teacher of late Varela, Francisco
Varela, yeah.
So he once told in our gathering, he is scientist, physicist, but if he develop attachment regarding his own scientific subject or field, it is wrong. At that time I learned, I really sort of felt, oh, it is very true. I am Buddhist. If I have too much attachment towards Buddhism, it's wrong. Then I cannot see the value of other tradition. So that's the problem. The fundamentalist thinking is a lack of knowledge of others' value because too much attachment with your own faith. That, I think, we have to remove. Otherwise, these different traditions must preserve. And not necessary, sort of what, because of that. I mean, not Buddhism alone, you see, have some special sort of message. No, all religion have the same message. Now important, one time in Germany, I think, when still two parts of Germany, there are the West Germans, one minister, we casual talk, I think one public meeting, before that we casual talk something. And I asked whether there is a secular ethics without religion. I asked him, he said no. Ethics, moral ethics must be based on religious faith. And one time, my late, great spiritual friend, almost spiritual was the comrade, the late Pope John Paul VI. Second. See, of course, since the beginning, he became Pope. As I had sort of audience. Then several occasions, you see, meeting. And then also he initiated the Assisi meeting. Oh, wonderful! I really respect and know each other very well. So one day, I developed some kind of the courage to ask him even the moral ethics must be based on religious faith or not. He didn't give any answer. But his sort of lieutenant, one cardinal say, oh yes, must be based on religious faith. Now that's a problem now. That's a problem. There are millions of non-believers on this planet. These also human beings. These people also want a happy life. But since they have no interest about any religion, so they also neglect completely about these values, compassion, forgiveness, these things. In fact, some of them consider compassion is something signs of weakness. Totally wrong. Lack of awareness and full of kasota ignorance, misunderstanding, like that. So therefore, in order to reach these non-believers, we must develop third sort of approach, way of approach. That's secular way. I always telling secular way. The secularism often you see get the impression disrespect religion. This is totally wrong. According to Indian Constitution, secularism means respect all religions. Mahatma Gandhi himself, in his daily prayer, Muslim prayer, Hindu prayer, Christian prayer, many prayer together. And he himself very religious minded. And also there, I think one great sort of lawyer, the first Indian president, Rajendra Prasad, very religious minded. But these people produce constitution based on secularism. So secularism, according to Indian sort of understanding, not at all disrespect, but rather respect all religion. But in the meantime, no sort of particular religion, no preference to one particular religion. So that's, I think, very, very good. And also the secularism, according to Indian sort of today definition, the secularism also respect non-believer. So therefore, I'm trying to make clear to our audience these basic ethics, moral ethics, which we learned or which we developed from birth, biological factor. This is nothing to do with religion. So therefore, these ethics itself
secular values.
a secular sort of value. The method to promote these also should be secular way, without touching religion. That I think we really need. This is no contradiction with religious faith. All major religion emphasize importance of love and compassion. So using different reasons. So that I think we need. And now here, like in Europe or some other country, in public school, the teaching of religion sometimes is a little problematic. So we must invent the without touching religion, but education for secular ethics. That's, I think, very necessary. So some of my friends actually is working in this field. So if your question seems to see, in order to build happy world, entire nearly 7 billion human beings should become Buddhist. No. That's unrealistic, unnecessary. Next question.
We have only 5 minutes left, so I'm going to need to take a last question, please, from the left-hand microphone.
Thank you, Your Holiness. You've stated your opposition to the death penalty. What is your best argument against the death penalty, and what advice do you have for us who are fighting to end this practice?
가자.
팀도는 소주 땅에 저바 소다도 디리아 군드는 오고난 게 어레스 군드는 오고난 게 어레스 다 군드는 다디 디 가다 야고면도 소야리아 는 룹셰 노쇼로 저 가르고 나요 나스 는 쿠란도 단디 레고 치니 테인스 인쿠슬리아 탑셰 레고 토리아 탑셰로 가르요 나스 탑람르도 가르야요 나스
So, I think two reasons of that. Those people who carry death sentence, you see, they believe death sentence can be preventive measure. In future, no karuda.
A form of a deterrence.
But that seems to fail. Look, China, the maximum death sentence there, but the corruptions and negative things, I think, increasing. So not much of the meaning. Then another thing, just revenge. Revenge 말이다. 곧 가서 다시 해보세요. 그 이제 논리 제비 이제 딱 kop에 청민요 보고서 쳐야지.
For the proponents of death penalty, one argument is the deterrence argument, which doesn't seem to work. The second argument is the retribution, because the person has done an unjust deed and he or she must pay.
Both reasons looks is not satisfactory reason. First, as I mentioned earlier, I think if we analyze those countries, no longer death sentence, not necessarily be more crime, more criminal, I don't think. So similarly, as I mentioned earlier, those countries which still practice death sentence, not necessarily less sort of problem. Then, the I think more effective thing is put in life prison, right? Life prison. And they are also not just reject from the society and criminal prisoner, not that way. Give them opportunities. give them some kind of sense. They still belong to the society. And in the prison, should have some Indian jail, some concerned sort of official provided some spiritual sort of information and also some meditation. I think in America also, in Europe also, I heard there's some people visit prison and talk prisoners and give them some kind of love and kindness. So that really, I think, effective method to change the person. Today, criminal person, through training, through transformation of their mind, eventually can be very useful person. And that's the way
So that's a more effective way of deterrence.
then the taslime
As for retribution,
that when one occasion in India, of course, unfortunately, India still is a death sentence there. So one occasion I expressed as far as potential of the crimes, including myself, everyone have potential, same potential. Anger, hatred, ignorance, everybody have that. So as far as potential is concerned, everybody have to go candidate for death sentence. Then as far as the actual action is concerned, even these criminal people also can change. Just one. So that's my reason, my argument. Then in human society, just is very important. War, these big hero, actually big murderer, but we praising them. And poor person, sometimes you see they take others' life. That we call murderer, and put in prison, sometimes death sentence. That also unfair. And all these people from childhood, same human being, same sort of compassionate person. That's my argument. That I usually feel. Then, further reason, you should investigate. I don't know. I appreciate your work. I think several years ago, Amnesty International used to start some movement abolishing death sentence. I am one of the signatory. So like that, we have to work. We have to work. Then?
Your Holiness, we began the week here at Stanford with a showing of a film, Compassion Rising, that showed your meeting in 1968 with the Roman Catholic monk Thomas Merton. And that was more than 40 years ago now. You have been teaching not only within your own tradition, but across traditions and around the world. You have been our great spiritual teacher. We're very grateful for that, and we hope you will continue to teach for decades, and we look forward to seeing you back at Stanford again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For more, please visit us at stanford.edu.